from STS Studios in Jonesboro, a very stormy Jonesboro, Arkansas. Good God. And we're live for WTF, the month of March. How the hell are you, Lance?
I'm fantastic. I'm here in the Key Lime Pie M&M Studios in Chicago. We don't have storms here, but, you know, it's coming this way. So we're preparing for it, too. We're battening down the hatches. We're going to try and get this March WTF news desk in before the rain washes away our internet on both ends.
Right. We got a little business to take care of. Number one, we have buried the hatchet. If anyone listened to episode 100,
I forgave him.
That's right. We've decided not to get a new co-host. So, Lance, really, truthfully, I hope we can see another 100 episodes down the line here. I had to send emails out to everybody, including Conrad Thompson, who everyone heard the last episode. He said he agreed to be my co-host. But we're not going. Me and you now. Did you get anything from anyone?
Yeah, Mike Tenay actually already signed the paperwork. So I'm going to have to, now that we've made up and Kiston made up, we have not kissed and made up. Let's clarify that. But we've made up.
Freudian slip.
I'm going to try to get something. I might do we'll do something. Me and Mike Tenay will do another project or something. So, but we won't be doing WTF because I think the magic of WTF is me and you. So as much as it pains me to say that. So
I want to say thank you to everyone. There's a lot of people that do stuff behind the scenes and keep this going, and especially the listeners that keep it going. We are officially after March, the first 3 months, 158% ahead of 2020. It was our second largest month of listens of all time in March. Just crazy. Thank you to everybody. I can't say enough thank yous. You know, you got guys like Richard, Josh, Dustin Starr, who's helping out get the word out.
Rhino JB.
Yeah. You got my new co-host. You got you got guys like Mark Southern. Everybody, P3 Radio. I thank y'all. Gene Jackson. If you know Gene Jackson, I thank everybody. And the wife. So, just speaking of Dustin, the wife. Speaking of Dustin. We have an exclusive YouTube content contract of some sorts. We haven't put the ink to the paper, as they say, but these will stream on Facebook. They may stream on Twitter, but you will not see them streaming on YouTube until you see them in the playlist for Championship Wrestling for Memphis. Excited about that. And Lance, remind them what happens after this show.
We have honorable mentions or dishonorable mentions, as it were. Since you're making me think we're gonna have a lot of new viewers here and a lot of new listeners here. So we'll tell you what WTF News Desk is basically we round up the 10 craziest, weirdest, most bizarre news stories from the world of wrestling and MMA for the previous month. And honestly, we find so many, we can't squeeze all 10 into the entire show. So we do honorable mentions for Patreon listeners after the show with another 4, 5, 10, whatever it is. Some months are 10, some months are 2. But we do the Patreon show afterwards with the best of the rest, as it were, of the weirdness.
It's kind of laid back, too. It's not, we're not formatted as much. So I got to talk to you about some. It's the Mr. Melon controversy. I'm in the stages. I just want you to know.
For those of you.
That's right.
There we go.
Look. So, by the way, do you look at the hat?
Before and after. Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy Mike Williams, high school friend, sent me this hat and said, look, Mr. Melon, y'all, look, that's me. So, we are going to get a petition so there'll at least be a sponsor. So, I want you to look at these pictures real quick, okay?
Right.
See how close I look like Mr. Melon.
Yeah, that's it.
See?
Intellectual property, my friend. You have a lawsuit on your hands. You at least have some sort of.
We would have never known this if it wasn't for John.
John spotted it, so I think
you, John.
John owes you money or you owe John money. I'm not sure which, but once you start getting the royalties from Mr. Melon from the 1908 Candy Company, you get the royalties from them, then I think you owe John some money.
Well, we need some sponsorship, too, and we'll give away candy, the whole 9 yards. Guys, I am Mr. Melon. Look, I mean, I am. But here's the first.
Here, you can put it
WTF.
side by side. There we go.
Not
side
part
by
of the,
side.
not even part of the countdown. Just a WTF. The candy slogan. The candy slogan is the candy that hits all the right notes. What the fuck, Lance?
It's a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy. This 1908 candy company, they steal your image. They steal the name of my book that you can get on Amazon.com. They steal the name of my book for the slogan of their candy. I don't know. I have not seen that, so I'm taking your word on it. But I've seen the artwork on the candy, and I know that's a ripoff right there.
It's all a music gimmick. Every one of their names of their candies is some kind of music. So take a look at that,
bone
guys.
to pick with 1908 Candy Company.
There we go. There we go. All right, get us started, brother. Get us started.
So the March WTF News Desk, we are starting, as we always do, we start with our stipulation match, and we actually have 2 honorable mentions this time before we get to the main match. I mainly wanted to get some honorables in on this because I don't want everybody to think we always go with DDT, although we mainly do go with DDT. So we have Tokyo Joshi Pro had an 11-match series with 2 11-woman teams on March 7th, where the winning team got an all-you-can-eat buffet meal at Genghis Khan, which is, I guess, apparently some buffet restaurant in Tokyo. So the winning 11 women got to go to Genghis Khan for the meal. So our other one was on March 28th. The name of the promotion was Basara. It was also in Tokyo. The name of the match, this is right up your alley. This is why I had to put this in here. Name of the match was the Baseball Fist Rules match, which that scares me right there. I'm not sure what's going on. But Masato Kamino beats Takato Nakano. The rules, this is where I thought of you. The rules were the wrestler had to take off one piece of clothing each time he got pinned. So it was like a strip wrestling match.
Oh, yeah, basically. I like that.
Two Japanese dudes. So anyway, so Nakano ends up giving up the match. He forfeits the match when he wouldn't go any further because he would have otherwise humiliated himself. So he quit because he wouldn't strip any further. I don't know how far he got, but maybe I'm hoping you'll find some footage of that for us. So, but our winner, of course, is DDT. The card was a March 14th, the Daydream Believer card. If you could play some Monkeys music, that'd be great. It was in Korakuen Hall. It was a barbed wire casket death match between Chris Brooks and Shunma Katsumata for the Extreme Championship. Brooks ended up winning the championship. The casket was covered in Legos, covered in wire. It had explosions or explosives inside. There were also thumbtacks, ladders, construction signs, chairs, but they did bar a sickle. One of them tried bringing in a sickle, and that was disallowed. So Katsumata's partners were dressed in Joker makeup to interfere. It ended up where Katsumata went for a splash on Brooks. Brooks moved, and Katsumata landed in the coffin. And then Brooks, to the icing on the cake, Brooks hammered nails into the coffin to shut the coffin. So that is our stip match where we always start at number 10 in March WTF News.
Dude, I would think that you were making up all this stuff, but I look at all these matches too, and it's like, can you make up something? Okay, let's do it. I tell
Baseball Fist. What is Baseball Fist? What is that even? That's something lost in translation on that one.
My favorite stip match that no one wanted to do was using a noose. It'd be like using a noose and flip it over the ropes or something. For some reason, people thought that might go, or a scaffold, noose on a scaffold match. For some reason, people thought that would go bad. So
not in 2021, my friend.
Oh, so. No, it had nothing to do with racism. Okay. No. It was just one of those things where what stipulation could go really, really bad, and that was one of those that
I could see that. Really so, all right, at number 9, we go to our WTF Crime Bureau, which seems to be every month. It seems to be a locked in that we have Crime Bureau. So this month we're saluting Patrick Shea, Travis Fulton, and Rise MMA. So we're starting with Patrick Shea, promoter of the New Jersey-based Synergy Championship Wrestling, or as I like to call it, Brian, SC Dub. He was the promoter there, known as Colin West. So he was under an assumed name, like that never happens in wrestling. He was going by Colin West, and wrestler Tessa Calloway goes all like Dateline on him and uncovers his past, his real name, and uncovers the fact that he was a convicted pedophile. He had assaulted boys. This is gross. He assaulted boys. He had sent pictures masturbating, all the gross stuff. So SCW is no longer running in Tampa this weekend. They were originally going to be part of all the indie shows that were in Tampa. So once all the truth came out about this guy, that he was using a fake name to hide his pedophile past, this promotion is on thin ice. Then we have Travis Fulton, 43, a journeyman MMA fighter, had 320 fights in his background, indicted in Cedar Rapids, Iowa on child porn charges, possession of child porn, and transporting a USB containing child porn across state lines. So I'm sorry, but if you have a USB that has kiddie porn on it, I don't care if you cross the fucking street. It shouldn't matter that it crossed state lines, you know? That's bad enough. He crossed the street with this kiddie porn thing. So he's under arrest. So he's out for his MMA career. And then finally, our last thing on the crime blotter is Rise MMA. Rise had a championship show in Lake Worth, Florida, because of course, Florida, on March 20th. And the crowd apparently didn't like a decision. And they started a brawl in the stands. Chairs were thrown, shots were fired, hookah bottles were thrown, and people were pissed about this decision. So the fact that a gun went off, the building, everybody lost their minds because a gun went off. So the shooter's still at large at Rise. So all because they disagreed with a decision on a match. So that is our crime blotter for the month of March. Always with the pedophiles in wrestling, always, I swear.
It is always with the pedophiles. There were some pedophiles in this area that I had to report when I was doing WrestlingRideOnline.com.
Good for you.
And I didn't have a problem saying anything. Then there were some guys in the workers in the business would say, "Oh, you're putting their business out there." No, they were fucking arrested for it.
Yeah.
And I don't want them around. I don't want them around my children. I don't want them around. I even had a pedophile tell my daughter at one show that since she lost a lot of weight, which she was 15 or 16 years old, it was okay to have sex with her now.
Oh.
So I almost killed that guy.
Yeah.
But here's what gets me, and you said that with the flash drive, and I'm not trying to make a joke about this. I just want to make a point. When guys like that do what they do for so long, then they get this idea that they can't be caught. And they start doing really stupid shit. And one would be with a fucking flash drive with so much shit you're carrying it around. So I'm glad that both of those guys were caught. I love it that he was going by an assumed name, and we had somebody tell him to tell the shoot name. So all right, let's get to
I'd like to interview this Tessa Calloway at some point for our show, because
fun.
she's the one who busted the whole thing. So I'd like to find out how that all went down. So all right, at number 8, we have our political corner, the WTF. We're sending it to our political corner over on the left side of the room here.
Oh, okay.
We got Blue Demon Jr., our friend Lauren Boebert is back in the news, and Daniel Rodimer. We can't seem to fucking shake Daniel Rodimer. So sadly, Blue Demon Jr. and Caristico have pulled out of the mayoral race in Mexico City over the real name issue. They didn't want to give their real names. They were okay. Apparently, they were okay with the mask thing, but they weren't going to tell who their real names were. They were going
to tell them shoot names, man, because that's money to them. I
guess.
Yeah.
So, but then why run in the first place? If you know that this is possibly going to be a problem, why would you run in the first place? So then, and also Demon dealing with allegations of abuse from his wife, Monica Carrillo, which we assume that's his wife because we don't know his name, so we have to assume that she's his wife. She was on
She should go ahead and tell his shoot name.
She was on a show on March 9th in Mexico named Chisme No Like. So that's gossip no like, which is funny in and of itself. So he had threatened to make her disappear. He had threatened her. Apparently there was a domestic abuse allegation. So he had threatened to make her disappear.
He was going to make her disappear.
That's what I thought, but it's not a good look for mayor. So apparently he pulled out of the race because of that and because of the whole real name issue. Then we have our friend Lauren Boebert, maybe not Stan Lane's kid. We don't know. Although from this promo, I think it is Stan Lane's kid. She releases this total wrestling promo where she's walking alongside the sidewalk in Washington, D.C. by the White House. And she yells out, "Madam Speaker, tear down this wall." And at the end of it, because apparently she's pissed that Biden and they put up a wall around the White House for security. So at the end of it, it even has shotgun sound effects. So it is the most white trashy thing you could possibly imagine. And so I'm going to say she is Stan Lane's kid because this promo was delivered just like a freaking wrestling promo. It was good enough in and of itself what it was. The message sucked, but the promo delivery was very good. And then finally, we have this Daniel Rodimer schmuck from Tough Enough that we can't get rid of. He won't go away. He's like the last piece of turd in the toilet. So he lost the race in Nevada for the House of Reps in Nevada in November. Now he files to run again, but this time in Texas, where he has no ties to anything in Texas. So he's already lost elections twice. What the fuck makes him think he can just, I'll go to Texas. Maybe I'll win there. And so we can't get rid of him too. So now he's still in political elections. Oh, Daniel Rodimer still in the news with us.
Our buddy David Bixenspan, who is always real nosy and looks into people. Look, Mr.
He's a good-looking man, though. He is a good-looking man.
Hey, David Biggs. We like David. He just is nosy. But he wrote an article about this deal with Lauren, and I want to make note of this. He went through a lot of documents, everything. He said the scoop, at a minimum, is the tech who took Lane's blood was falsifying the test for money. Huh. So he believes it's all bullshit, and I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why you would do that. So I thought, no offense to my mother who listens to the podcast, but I do want to say that I need to get blood tests and dig up some graves of the first assassin because I hear he may be my daddy. I just want to say that.
Do you think Stan Lane could be your daddy?
No,
the assassin. Too close in age. Okay. Okay. Got it. Well, he had a mask on, so we don't know. So, but we can't get rid of Lauren Boebert either. So whether she is or isn't Stan Lane's kid, I think we're going to be talking about her for a while still. And I think we were one of the first ones to talk about it, where she was like a crazy gun nut, radical politician, hardcore Trump supporter. So we will be dealing with her, I think, for a good long time on WTF. So, all right, at number 7, we have our COVID update. So we have Cody Garbrandt is an idiot, and Austin Aries is still an idiot. So we start with Cody Garbrandt. UFC bantamweight Garbrandt and his family was kicked off a Southwest flight because his 2-year-old would not keep his mask on. So for me, the craziest part about this whole story is the fact that Cody Garbrandt himself had COVID in October, and it took him months to get it out of his system. He was sick for months, and now he's pissing and moaning because they made his kid wear a mask. So his beef, he started, of course, because everybody has cameras on their phone. His beef was that he started filming on the plane and that the pilots in the cockpit did not have masks on, but yet you're making my 2-year-old wear a mask. So their policy was that if they were under 2, they didn't necessarily have to wear a mask, but the kid was 2, so he had to abide, so they kicked him off the plane. So I just don't get why, Cody, you had it. You dealt with this disease and this virus. Why would you fight any rules about it at this point? And then, of course, Austin Aries, still complaining, still being an idiot, claims on March 31st, so he got the story in just under the wire, that he knows that more people have died from, as he called it, the COVAIDS vax. So COVAIDS, like AIDS, vax. More people have died from the vax than from the pandemic itself, and that mainstream media is deceiving us. So all I got to tell you, Austin Aries, is good luck getting any kind of work ever again in wrestling until you start seeing the light and stop with these cock and bull stories of yours.
Man, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there believe what you want to believe. I listen to our buddies over at P3 Radio. I think they had a good point about this in the sense that if the rule says you got to wear the mask when you walk through the door of someone's business, whether it's Walmart, a big business, or whether it's John owns a pizza place down here on the left side of,
Mr. Mellon Pizza.
Yeah, Mr. Mellon Pizza. What you have to do is you have to abide by the rules. Come on, guys, don't be stupid ass. Also, I think the whole thing of spreading COVID and such, I think it was a joke, but So the mask, what does it do? Well, if someone peed on you and you were naked and you didn't have pants on, would you get? Yeah, you get a little pee on you, but you wouldn't. What if you was naked? You'd get a lot of pee on you. If he's wearing pants, you wouldn't. So there you go. That's the way I look at it. I wear the mask. I abide by the rules. I'm getting a vaccine. I don't want a bunch of comments about that, but that's just what I do. Austin Aries is just a weird guy, and I say that because he's on the fringe of everything. It's not, he's a vegan. This is fake and just strange. And to put all that, he's one of those guys. And I usually don't do this, Lance, and I don't do this with music. I'll see some guy, in music that I really like talking politics and bullshit. I usually don't judge them by that. I really don't. I still like to listen to their music. But when Austin Aries, I used to be a huge fan of his. And now I would not pay, like my dad used to say, I wouldn't walk across the street to see him if it was free. So there you go, Austin Aries. You lose me as a fan, and you probably lost a lot of fans over just being stupid. That's all you are, is being stupid.
I'm still trying to get to the bottom of this. If you peed on my face, would I get pee on my face?
If you didn't have a mask on.
If I had a mask on,
you still might get a little bit.
Would you pee on my face?
Do you want a lot of pee on your face?
I don't want any pee on my face, so I'm going to start wearing a fucking hazmat mask or something. You got me scared now that people are going to start randomly peeing on my face.
No, I couldn't do that because I'm shy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So.
Yeah, you got the shy penis. All right, number 6. Shy penis. That's like 100 episodes ago. So, all right, at number 6. Number 6, we have. See,
comedy. That's called a callback.
They're not all weird and bad. Well, they're all weird stories, but they're not all negative stories. So at number 6, we have MMA fighter Cass Bell saves a baby. So yes. Bellator bantamweight fighter Cass Bell, who is known by the nickname of the Mean Green Fighting Machine, was out with his wife, Chelsea Corral, which no relation to Big Corral or Golden Corral or whatever, the Genghis Khan buffet. So the two of them are out on March 13th in Eureka, California. They're eating tacos in his car, which, speaking of callbacks, wasn't that a Teddy Hart eating tacos in the car video or something? So anyway, they're out eating tacos in his car and they hear sirens. They see a white car pull up and some guy scrambles out of the car with a camera bag. So Cass Bell approaches the car because apparently he abandoned his car in the middle of an intersection. So the fighter, Cass, goes up to the car in the intersection to try to move it and finds a little girl abandoned in the backseat of the car with drug paraphernalia. So unbelievable.
Are you saying that the baby was small? Oh, no.
No. The baby was just next to the camera, next to the drug paraphernalia. So they heard sirens. So apparently the cops were after this guy. He abandons his car with his kid in the car to get away from the cops. So the father is later arrested. The mother comes and picks up the kid to retrieve the kid. And Cass Bell becomes a hero again, which is really interesting because researching the story, Cass Bell has rescued people before. He's put out fires to save people. He saved a woman who was drowning once. This guy is like a hero. He seems to always be in the right place at the right time. So I don't know what his fight record is, but right, Brian?
Oh, we lost you there on that one, Lance. I guess it is the storms here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And so lost you there a little bit after you was talking about he was a hero, but I agree with you. That Cass Bell is a hero, guys. Saving not only but one person. Lance, it is one of those things, though, and I had it happen to me one time. I was driving to work, and one of my friends' house was on fire. And me knowing nothing about it and probably the biggest puss ever, but I did jump out and knock on all the doors, blah, 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 and you're late for work. But it's one of those things where the adrenaline pumps in, adrenaline kicks in and it starts pumping and you just do something. It's human nature. It's what it is. But here's a guy who, whatever your belief is religiously, whatever, he's been gifted to see all these people in danger.
Right place at the right time.
That's right.
A guy with balls deal in the right place at the right time.
Right.
So.
And all we can do, we do this show, and we've been doing it a long time. This is, what the fuck's been going on a lot longer than we thought it would, because we said we're never going to find 10 things, but this is what we like to call, and I like to find these, the feel-good story. So talking of feel-good, going across the screen here, and for people that's actually watching the video, we do have a phone number. We get voicemails. One of our first voicemails ever, I'm going to play it, and right after it gets done playing, we're going to go right straight to a commercial. So, not just a commercial, but all the commercials. So, give us just a moment here. And I might have shit the bed on that one. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Well, I can cut that out.
He's pissing in my face and he's shitting the bed. There's all kinds of shit going on.
Good God. Here we go.
What the hell? What kind of shit is this, BT? Mark Southern calls you and I get a damn voicemail? Well, I'll tell you what. This Saturday, you and the nation need to show up at Clash on the Kern in Doniphan, Missouri. April the 10th at Doniphan High School. Bell time 7:30. Mark Southern will be there. Naughty by Nature Rude will be there. Just in case. Derek By Guy, Greater Than Great King, and other superstars of AHCW. But I'll tell you what, people. Coach BT, if you ever put me on an answer machine again, boy, I'll quiver your liver and shatter your bladder, make the earthquake, the walls shake, and every woman's heart break. Because whether you're big, tall, little, or small, the bad boys whip them all. See you Saturday at the Clash on the Kern.
All right, back from commercials. We want to thank our sponsors. Lance, we're going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But I got a few things I need to talk about first. We do have Rolling Into Memphis coming this Saturday. A new record store on Monday from Lance Levine. And, man, I'm so happy to announce this, Lance. Next Tuesday, we have I'm fixing to say this correctly, our 5th annual 10 Mania
10.
show. Yes,
right.
Very much so. A couple other things. Saturday,
I got to take the shades off for that.
Saturday and Sunday, you can watch Mania free at Dave & Buster's. Take a look at my Shooting the Shiznit Facebook page, all the details there. And at Mark Southern left us a voicemail right before we went to commercials. Doniphan, Missouri, Saturday night with Mark Southern and American Hostile Championship Wrestling. Bitches! So join them if you're going there, or if you're going in the Memphis area, go watch Mania for free at Dave & Buster's. All right, Lance, get it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm afraid he's going to quiver my liver after I get urinated on, and you're shitting the bed over here. So there's all kinds of bodily functions going on.
Hell of a voicemail.
So, all right, at number 5, it is, of course, Smut. It is social media uproar time, where people get into beefs on Twitter and Facebook and so on. Hip hop or TikTok or whatever the fuck that's called. So this month we have Turkey Time or something, Turkey Tits, like Conrad Thompson, your ex-co-host.
That's
so
right.
we got this month we have Soulja Boy. Oh, do you have get your reading material? This
hold on, just keep talking and I'll
you have your dramatic reading here. Soulja Boy versus Randy Orton. We got Miro versus Cornette. We got this Josh Chernoff dude against Meltzer. We got Maki Ito, and we've got a Brian Trammell sighting in Smut this month too. So our first story, Soulja Boy, who is allegedly a rap performer against Randy Orton. So Soulja Boy tweeted This is the quote, rap game faker than WWE. So Orton, of course, takes exception to this and dares this prick, in Randy's words, to step up. So calls him a bitch ass and challenges are issued for a fight. Orton says his dick is taller than Soulja Boy. And this is where we send it to our roving correspondent, Brian Trammell, our former Pulitzer Prize winning documentarian here, to read the tweet that wrapped up the whole thing from Soulja Boy to Randy Orton. So take it away.
All right, here we go. WWE is scared of me. And Randy Orton, pussy. They big cap used somebody else's name for ratings. I knew they was too fake to have me there. I'll slap the shit out of dude live. And then he wrote, you bitch, Randy Orton. I mean that 100% pussy. I'm not sure what, so I'm not sure exactly, but let me try to interpret this to you.
I liked when he called him Randy Orton. That was my favorite
Well,
part.
I got to tell you, yo, Randy Orton, I'm going to talk, yo, Randy Orton, y'all want some big ratings, bring me on. They're too scared to bring me on.
Yeah.
And you 100% bitch, Randy Orton. So I said it better than him, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for the translation as well as the actual dramatic interpretation. So, all right, then we go to Miro versus Cornette. Cornette calls Penelope a slut, says she looks like a slut. And I asked at that time, how? Because they don't dress her like a slut. The character is certainly not a slut. So I don't know what Cornette's talking about with that one. Miro goes crazy. Cornette calls Miro a, quote, great value brand Ryback, which I'm like, that's a great line. I like that one because that's like calling him a generic Ryback. Then Miro has a great line. I'll drive to your basement to kick his ass, to Cornette. And then Kip Sabian, not so much of a great line. I can't wait for that man to die, talking about Cornette. So then Cornette, of course, loops in Joey Janela, saying that Penelope needs to have her head examined because she slept with Joey Janela too. So that is our second beef of the month. Then we have Josh Chernoff, a podcaster and commentator on wrestling, against Meltzer. So Meltzer had tweeted, and I know you got some feelings you want to express on this one. So Meltzer tweeted about how Kevin Kelly was working a double shift on one of those New Japan Cup shows. So if he makes an error, take it easy on him. And he tweeted, please die. And that's where this Chernoff just went off on him, ripping Meltzer for the language, ripping him as a hack, saying he has no credibility, and going on and on about how bad Dave Meltzer's a bad guy. So do you want to comment on that one before we get to the last two?
No, I thought this guy, made a big deal out of something, a little bit bigger deal than it was. But I also have to say that, here's a tweet that Dave actually took down. So he knows what happened. But that's just something, you just don't say that, especially when I don't even say that. There's only very few people I would be that mad at to say, but I'm not sure what he was thinking when he did that. And I'm not sure this guy made a big deal, but you have a lot of this on the internet. And I've learned this from, I listen to a podcast called The Official Podcast. And what it is a bunch of nerds on there talking about video games and stuff, but people make money on talking about famous people or famous YouTubers or talking about Dave Meltzer. So that's part of it. He got a lot of downloads for it. Real quick comment on Cornette. As many people say it's just a work and he's just trying to get attention. There's I will listen to him about the history and the psychology of the business. But when he starts talking about AEW, coming out of in my mind, all I think of is, man, he's a piece of shit, because it doesn't make any sense, So here's the last, you got the last thing here. Well, not the last thing, two other things.
Two more,
actually, and it comes back to this culture that we have where you say so much that your feelings get hurt so bad, you just delete your stuff. So go ahead and talk about that.
So as far as the Chernoff thing, I think maybe he had a point about the language. And again, I've gone on record, nothing offends me. So I am not a good gauge on those kinds of things. So if you were offended by the please die line, then I respect that. But I think that where he went wrong and where he went sideways is calling Meltzer a hack, and calling his credibility into question. I'm like, no, that has nothing to do with that. The guy's a legendary journalist. So how are you going to call his credibility into question? You might criticize the language. I can see that. Didn't bother me, but I can see that. But don't be saying he's a fucking hack. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it didn't bother you, but I got a question. Would you ever tweet or would you ever say to me,
Please.
man, I just wish he would die?
Probably not. Probably not.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, even though there's guys like Enzo and people that I don't like,
you would never. We don't like people, but we don't wish them harm.
I don't want to wish death on them. So, all right, then we got Maki Ito, everybody's favorite Maki Ito. On March 17th, she takes down her Twitter, and of course, the Snowflake Army loses their shit because all the meanies have the nerve to not like her, myself included. I don't like her, but they started immediately blaming Cornette and all of Cornette's minions. And it turned out they had nothing to do with it. Her account had been hacked, and she took it down. She closed it because she had been hacked. And then good news is, everybody, all the Snowflake Patrol, she's back on Twitter. So you can read all your silly shit from Maki Ito. And then lastly, we have our own Brian Trammell is on the smut list this time because he was shut down on Twitter for a day because of the whole Memphis bug. So we talked about this on one of the other shows. There was a bug on Twitter. If you did hashtag Memphis, your account would get frozen and suspended for a day. And of course, you did a post on Memphis because you have the Memphis show. So I thought maybe the Mr. Mellon people had come after you. I thought there was some kind of friction there. I didn't know what to make of it, but thank God you're back. And we hope that you're not going to be in smut next month. Hopefully you're not.
Man, it's just crazy. We talked about this, like you said. It was just nutty to watch how, and it's scary to think that something like that
could happen.
You know what? I thought Twitter had some, so it was just hashtag Memphis.
Yeah, like hashtag mac and cheese, and everything shuts down because somebody created a poisonous hashtag mac and cheese. So, all right, at number 4, we have firecrackers go off in AEW. So. Doesn't sound like a big story, but it was. So and you know what? We usually don't cover stuff that actually happens in the ring very often, but this time I feel like we have to. So March 7th feels like forever ago. March 7th was the Revolution pay-per-view. Fairly well-received card. Had some good stuff. Sting Street Fight, the Bucks versus Jericho MJF, the Moxley Omega match itself. But it ends with only a 48% thumbs up in the Observer poll, mainly because the last match, of course, the explosive barbed wire death match, where pretty much just sparklers went off in the corners. So it had all the blood. It had the countdown. The explosions during the match I thought looked okay. But then the post-match was where the ring was supposed to explode. Obviously, it looked like sparklers going off. And here you got Kingston and Moxley in the middle of the ring playing dead. So it just left a sour taste in everybody's mouth at the end of an otherwise pretty decent pay-per-view. So I like to think it's like the Shockmaster. I feel like it has to be brought up on WTF because the Shockmaster falling through the wall way back when, is something that lived in infamy as far as great wrestling bloopers, of all time. And I feel like this pretty much matched it. And I think we'll be talking about this for years to come too. And I think it stands out because AEW does so much that's good. When they fuck something up, like this clearly was a fuck up, it's memorable and it stands out. So we got the sparklers going off at number 4.
So me, I thought it was shitty, and I actually turned against the pay-per-view. I gave it a thumbs down, and then after they did their little skit and everything, I loved the skit so much, and just I know you didn't, but let me say what happened then. So I liked the skit. I thought it was funny. I liked the idea of them mentioning it. You said they should have just kept their mouth shut, blah blah blah. But here's what happened. Dave talked about this on Wrestle Observer. He feels that is what's contributing to a little decline in what they're doing is that they had this good pay-per-view, had this promise of, and this is old time. This is what happens to wrestling fan. If you promise them something, you better deliver. And that's not what they did. So it's one of those things that maybe why some of the fans left in the last few days. A couple of things. We're going to go to a commercial, but before we go to commercial, I want to go ahead and let everyone listen to, well, Lance, you had the 10 reasons that I actually got kicked off of, in Letterman style, kicked off of Twitter. Right after you listen to that, we'll go right to Manscaped commercial. We want to welcome Manscaped. Has been with us for, 6 or 7 months. So there you go. Here we go. Here's the 10 reasons.
So yesterday, we woke up to the misfortune of you being suspended off of Twitter.
Right.
So we have no idea. We were pondering, like, what the hell did I get suspended? I got suspended off of Facebook a number of times because
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Can I not say it? I
don't want to be banned. Let's don't be banned.
So I got suspended on Facebook a couple of times for basically quoting MJF on something that he said on national TV. And they saw fit to suspend me. But anyway, but BT has been squeaky clean. I don't know what's going on. Why did they suspend him? So we find this out. We're trying to figure it out. So the surprise is that I've had my crack staff at the home office in Yeehaw Junction. We had the crack staff get on this, and we discovered the top 10 theories why BT got kicked off of Twitter.
10 of them. Jesus.
Yes,
all right, go ahead.
Top 10. So we have the top 10 theories why BT got kicked off of Twitter. So at number 10, Korean boy band BTS complained another hot guy was causing confusion in the marketplace.
Not true.
Number 9, he was commenting on wrestling shows that he hadn't watched. Number 8, too much tweeting about gravy. You don't want to drink because you're going to be laughing here. Number 7, they were after Lance but got Brian by mistake.
Oh, that's possible.
Number 6, the trouser lobby filed a grievance. Number 5, Mama contacted Twitter, angry she's not receiving royalties per mention. Number 4, the air fryer industry complained BT's on a diet screws with their profits. Number 3, Conrad Thompson called, worry about BT stealing his gimmick. Number 2, shut down by Jerry Lawler, bitter about not being able to wrestle on Memphis TV in 2021.
That's possible.
And the number 1 theory why BT got kicked off of Twitter, it was part of Moose's restraining order. There we go. Shout out to David Letterman, the genius that he is.
Maybe real quick. That was. You know what time it is?
So, all right, at number 3, we got Azatar's Potatoes. So, as you recall, Atman Azatar released from UFC in January for smuggling cat burglar incident where he was climbing up the walls on the outside of the hotel, 4 flights up. On Fight Island. So he was released in January. He's been since reinstated. His agent, Ali Abdel Aziz, claims that he was smuggling potatoes into Abu Dhabi. So apparently he needed some like hash browns or curly fries or whatever. So they're claiming that it was an innocent thing. He was only trying to smuggle potatoes into his hotel room, and that's why he should be reinstated. So there was a media event in March, and Azatar poked his head in a room full of reporters, waved a white bag saying, "I'm back." And the reporters were like, "Oh, Jesus, this guy again." So I call it the Great Potato Caper of Fight Island. It sounds like a Disney movie from the 70s, but that is it. Azatar was smuggling potatoes. It was an innocent mistake. Smuggling potatoes onto Fight Island at number 3. That is the story.
We should get shirts, like Free Tyson. We should get them to free him because it was potatoes, guys.
Potatoes.
I believe
just
him.
potatoes.
I believe him.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the question? So, all right, at number 2, this one could have been tragic. Thankfully, it wasn't. So, earthquake hitting the New Japan show on March 20th. So, at ZBO Arena in Sendai, during a New Japan card, a 7.0 earthquake hits, which is a pretty big earthquake. So 3 minutes into a match with Tanahashi, Okada, and Ibushi versus Jay White, Kenta, and Yujiro in that match, 3 minutes into the match. So the Quake Center was about 45 miles away. The building shook. The wrestlers just stopped the match in the middle of the match because they didn't know what the fuck to do. It had to be weird because they just kind of stopped and they milled around ringside waiting for the green light to resume the show. So I'm thinking once they got the go ahead to resume the match, I'm like, all right, let's just go right to the fucking finish. That's it. We got to go to the finish right away. But they didn't. They still went a few more minutes. So earthquake hitting at number 2 is another weird story.
Man, we just had a comment. I just want to, if you're not watching this live on Facebook, my buddy Michael Williams, who bought this cap and sponsors this cap, he is going to help me with Mr. Mellon. I think he's going to give us some funds for the lawyer and everything. But yes, thank you. He said he loves the cap. It does fit. I sent him my hat size, and Michael said, damn, you got a big head. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, look at this one. You know, you're looking at an earthquake right in the middle of a wrestling match. There's a bunch of the wrestlers actually comment about it. It's one of those things where I've had some things happen during a wrestling match, but you know, I've had fans jump in the ring. I've had to jump the barrier to save somebody. You have weird things happen. I had the lights go out. Our old buddy Mark Southern talked about they actually had a show that we helped promote, and they had to do, I think, the first 3 or 4 matches in the dark. And then our earthquake hit. So what the hell? I mean, well, you're right in the middle of the match and you're fixing to call a move. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to body slam me. And then when you get body slam, the whole fucking building moves. Just crazy, man. Just crazy.
It reminded me of the World Series when the World Series was in San Francisco and the earthquake hit. So it's similar to that.
About that. So, yeah.
All right. At number 1, we haven't talked about this guy in a little while, but he's sure to make the news a lot. So at number 1, Joey Ryan schedules a charity show for women. So the show is announced March 2nd. It's supposed to be happening in Knoxville, Tennessee on March 20th. It's called Wrestling for Women's Charity, which I'm like, what the fuck is that? I think that was a work altogether. It just sounds like a weird fucking name. Wrestling for Women's Charity. So it's supposed to raise money for something called Project Girl, GRL, which I looked it up, and it's this culty, very heavy-handed religious thing, kind of like a Jimmy Swaggart-ish kind of deal for abused teens. So already that organization is controversial. And so that's what supposedly Ryan's group was raising money for. So Joey Ryan is on the poster that's released that day, and the internet just loses their fucking minds. You know, it goes crazy because Joey Ryan is pictured on the poster amongst all the other talent. So it's his show altogether, it turns out. So AEW pulls Brian Cage and Sonny Kiss from the card. They were pictured on there as well. Molly Holly and a bunch of other indies were pictured on the poster as well. So the whole thing blows up. Within that same day, he decides to cancel the show because there's just too much controversy. So Joey Ryan claims, everybody that was signed for it knew the deal and knew it was him. And I'm like, I don't know. Do we have any reason to believe him on that? So anyway, so he canceled the show so that they don't have to go through a tough situation. So also in the month of March, he quietly dropped most of the lawsuits that he had been starting or were filed on him. So a lot of that is going away. And he also announces that he has been attending Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous for 8 months now. So sex addicts, I can see that. Love addict, I don't know that he's a love addict, but if it's one big class. So
Lance, I'm a love addict. I love to be loved.
The ladies love BT.
That's right. Well, I just want to be loved. I don't care if it's ladies. I mean, you know, you love me. Everybody loves me. I want to be loved, Mr. Mellon. Mr. Mellon.
So that is our top story, is the Joey Ryan, let's see, what is it called again? Wrestling for Women's Charity, which just sounds so fake.
I think I sent you a message with the picture and said WTF is what I said, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, what is he going? We're going to talk about another guy too on the honorable mentions. What was he thinking that people just forgot what happened?
Yeah. Like we're going to go back to our regular scheduled lifestyle, and we're going to have Joey Ryan have a card. So it was his card. That's the part that's weird. It's like he just put the whole thing, allegedly, put the whole thing together. So I'm like, and all those people agreed to work with him. The whole thing. The
weird thing is,
so
let me
bizarre.
just say something. And the internet has made this happen in a good way. Back in the day, I just talked about those 2 guys that I had to carry stories on that were molesters. Back in the day, guess what? They were used after they came out of jail. They were used on cards, and it was just like, why are you putting, this guy back in front of the crowd, in front of young kids when you know that he actually is a molester or something? But that's what happened in his mind. It's just so corny. Part of it's so corny in the sense that, we're just going to say, all right, y'all are going to forget, dude, it was just to work. I just grabbed your balls. It was just to work,
My bad.
My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
And
that absolves everything, I'm told.
We've covered Joey from the start of this, and he appears, he's on his way, being a top guy already this year. So it's crazy.
It's a race between him and Austin Aries for the top spot in stupidity in 2021. So that is it. That is March.
That's it. We thank you for
We're
joining
tapped
us. Same bad time, same bad channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, I love my mama.
And as everyone knows, I have fun I have fun everywhere I go. Not wherever I go. Everywhere I go. That's what I'm
You
told.
got your own damn catchphrase computer. All right. Patreon.
Patreon and on and on. So
Thank you to everybody joined us for Patreon. We do appreciate the $3. Tell your
Absolutely.
friends, man. We need some more cashola coming in. It's StreamYard's not cheap. It's $300 a year. Not cheap to do streams, but it has got us a lot of exposure. So if you want to help out, $3. We got a contest in May coming. Guys, it's all about Memphis. May is all about Memphis, and it'll be Memphis Wrestling. We have an exclusive. I've never sold it. It's never been shown. I have a Handsome Jimmy painting that a graphic that my KT Does Art did. And it's going to one lucky person. So along with a bunch of other stuff. All right, go ahead. Throw in your people here.
I'm looking forward to Memphis in May because I think I get to interview somebody from Memphis.
You're excited about it.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. If everything goes, just say she's featured on Championship Wrestling for Memphis, and we'll announce all the guests. We're going to have, we haven't had one in a couple weeks, but conversations. We had conversations that were very popular last month, and we're going to have conversations with guests that hopefully we'll have Alan Steele, Austin Lane, Dustin Starr, guys that's already been on here. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be just 20 minutes. How you doing? How's everything going? How's your mama?
Alan Steele and Austin Lane on the same episode. That'd be great.
No. It'll confuse the hell out of you. That's how you Northerners are.
It will.
All right, come on. Give me what's your.
So my first honorable is NXT ref tears bicep. So during a match, the referee Tom Caster tears his bicep during the match with it was Tony Storm and Io Shirai in NXT on March 10th. I think he was doing something to avoid Tony Storm's giant ass. That's what I'm told. But anyway, what's so weird about it? It's weird that it happened in the match. The referee gets hurt, but this guy had broken his ankle previously in a match in 2019. So the dude is—I don't know if he's just clumsy or accident prone or what. I guess.
Yeah, there we
go. Tom Caster is my first story in honorables this time. So. You want to go with one or?
Yeah. Let me do one here. So I'm looking through. I'm not going to put anybody what the young kids say. I'm not putting anybody on blast.
Ooh,
Brad from Suplex City Limits, Big Brad. I'm not putting you on blast, Brad. He's also on Cool Kids. But he put up a tweet the time when Jim Crockett actually died, and I never heard this just this one time. No one said a word about it. But apparently, Brian Alvarez mentioned that he got a text from someone when Jim Crockett passed away. He passed away Wednesday night at the end of the FTR telematch. He believes that Jim passed away during the match, and he got to see them throwing up the Big Four. I call horseshit. What the fuck? That's what I say. Horseshit. That's a scene out of a fucking movie. Look. And then he died. Wait, I got the camera.
I can die now because I got to see that.
I got to see that.
with FTR. Thank God I got to see that. And now I'm going to heaven. So, all right, we got my next one, courtesy of Eric Kroll, Patreon Eric Kroll. Indy Hartwell gets hit in the eggs.
No catchphrase.
No catchphrase, Eric. That's right. Indy Hartwell gets hit in the eggs on live TV. So it's the March 31st NXT.
I don't call that eggs.
I don't know. I didn't know what else to call it.
Lance, it's a vagina. It's
the equivalent of the balls. So I'm like, I can't say she got hit in the nads, you know. So March 31st NXT, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell are in the ring. They call out Ember Moon and Shotzi. Shotzi fires that stupid fucking giant Nerf dart out of her tank.
I love it.
And it hits Indy Hartwell right in the crotch. And so the faces start giggling. Ember and Shotzi, you can only see it for a split second, but they start giggling because it hit her right in the crotch. So Indy tweets that it hit the rope. The next day she tweets it hit the rope. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here like a 12-year-old rewinding it 87 times because I had to see it hit her in the crotch like 87 times. It was hysterical. So shout out to Eric for that one. Great call. So
it's sad that she
got hit in the nads. That's what I'm saying.
No, vagina.
Vagina.
So in the badge.
There
we go.
Egg.
I'm sorry. In the badge. There we go. So here's the thing. So Eric is 12 and he sends it to you who you are 12. And then you say, hey, blah, blah, blah. Then you send me the clip. And I'm like, I'm doing the same thing you are. Yeah. I'm laughing and watching it over and over. Just, I don't know.
It's not sexist at all because I laugh at like when guys get hit in the crotch.
Yeah, it's a mistake.
It's still hilarious. I don't matter that it was male or female. It doesn't. It's just crotch humor is funny. So
I love watching somebody get hurt because I don't know why. I just do. I wanted to tell you this now since you are a single man that Bailey and her boyfriend are broke up now, so you can go for it.
Yeah. Well, she has to grow that hair a little bit longer again. Before
okay, all right.
If she's in the same building as Sasha, I'm not even going to notice her. But okay,
Marty Scurll, what do you think about that? Not only did we have Joey Ryan get canceled, but Marty he did some New Japan stuff. He's smiling and everything's okay. Oh man, they got a bunch of snowflakes on that, and I'm saying that because the thing with Marty is.
I think he could be back, but it might take time. I don't see Joey Ryan ever coming back. But I think Marty, they could get the whole – I mean, I'm not defending this, but they can get the technicality of, well, that was the age of consent in England. Right.
That's where I think,
Which I don't necessarily agree with that, but since that was the law and it doesn't sound like he broke the law. That's what gets
me. I mean, so we're not going to follow that law because he's a pervert, all right? But all other laws we're supposed to follow. So I don't know where that is, so.
Yeah. But I think that the Ryan thing happened with too many people that we know in the States, and there was just too much dirt on him.
Sure.
All right. My next one is that thigh slapping is outlawed. So at WWE events, there's a sign now backstage that says, do not slap leg while kicking. Another weird Vince-ism that'll likely fade away. But I just think it looks so dumb when they connect on a kick and there's no sound at all. I mean, we've all seen, like, especially at Lucha Underground, they used to push that button like crazy, but the sound effect button. But we've all seen where the kick doesn't connect and they still make the noise, or where the kick connects, but there's no noise. If it's done right, it's great. It's magical. Like, I always used to think Bobby Eaton was the king of it. And I still saw him doing it. I still saw it. If I'm paying attention, I could still see him slap his thigh. But he was the master of it. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter because it sounded great. So I think the whole thigh slapping is outlawed. It's a big who cares to me.
Yeah, it's and the weird thing is it's been going on for so long, and it is a big. Now
decades,
I have seen
decades.
I've seen some of the guys, the old school guys, say it's okay, but don't do it on every match. But that's all old school. But it never has bothered me, So
I think for the guys, for the boys, it's going to be muscle memory too, because I think the guys that have had 10, 20-year careers, they're so used to it and they're so conditioned to doing it. It's going to be a really difficult thing to tell somebody not to be able to do it. Like a Randy Orton, we'll say, just to name somebody who's been around for a while. How is he going to be able to force his hand not to go there? So
I have a hard time forcing my hand not to go there too. So
especially when Randy Orton's involved.
That's right. I got one here. It's not really what the fuck, but it could be a what the fuck if it all happens. Bill Nye, the science guy, you know him. He is suing Disney over what he calls royalties on Disney Plus. He says he believes he's entitled to 50% of the revenue value streaming the shows. Disney says, no, you're not. It's streaming. It's not broadcasting. So this ruling is very important for WWE, because if the judge actually comes out and says, okay, so this is a natural progression from VHS. Shout out to Jeff Zinger. And later DVD.
8-track tapes.
Yeah. And the DVD and the VHS you get royalties for, you should be getting royalties from streaming. So if they say that, look at the WWE and how much fucking money they will owe guys. Because, a lot of this stuff, when they went to the WWE network, when they went to streaming, those pay-per-view numbers or payoffs went down, and a lot of the guys wanted a guaranteed contract because of that. This is a case that could affect streaming and everything, just what the judge decides to do kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all going to change because the way that people consume their media changes so much every day. I feel like it changes, so it's all going to have to get locked down at some point as far as who gets what amount of money, who gets what percentage of the money. So it's going to definitely be changing over the years. So, all right, my last story is Danny Cage gives out his cell phone number to fight racism. So our guy, Danny Cage, is in Cool Kids. So we love Danny Cage. He's a good guy. So on March 13th, Danny Cage is announcing his own show at Monster Factory in New Jersey. He hears some dumbass idiot yell to a black wrestler, send him back to Africa. So Cage stands up, tells the fans that booing is okay, but racial shit will not be tolerated. So, and then to show that he's serious, he gives out his cell phone number so the offender can text him so they can talk about the incident. And then he resumes the show. And it is his legit cell phone number. He did not change his number after the fact. So we applaud Danny Cage, one of our guys, for giving out his cell phone number to fight racism in 2021. So kudos to you, Danny Cage.
Just crazy. Yeah, I mean, Danny Cage, he no-showed me one time, so I'm still mad at him. But just a great guy, really good, really smart guy about the business. He's got a lot of guys that he's trained that's in the business. And the times when he would comment and the stuff that he commented in Cool Kids, you could tell that he was above average when it comes to intelligence and how to run a show and what to do. I had
good guy, upstanding guy. I
had talked to him about what licensing the Monster Factory and everything, because it was something I would want to do. But I mean, we got Championship Wrestling from Memphis training now, and they're doing a lot for us. So I couldn't train the wrestlers, but I was going to buy a trainer. I was going to buy a man. I was going to pay a trainer to do the training. I just want to do psychology. That's what I want to teach them.
You can bring that clipboard and you can show people how to use that clipboard.
All right, guys. Thank you again, Thank you,
Patreons. We appreciate it.
Tell your friends.
Keep me in the pork and beans for the month. Thank you.
That's right.